Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Returning Officer. I thank you to everybody who got the result eventually. I think next time we might do it by hand to speed things up. In just 84 days' time, London will welcome the world, and the world will see a city that is going through a neo-Victorian surge of investment in public transport, where the Jubilee line, I'm proud to say, is now going 3 miles an hour faster on average than it was 4 years ago, where the murder rate is down 25% on the last 4 years, and where the Olympic and the Paralympic venues have been completed on time and under budget. They will find a city where the streets are swarming with bank-funded blue bicycles, a beautiful new bus that costs no more than any other hybrid bus, I should stress, and they will find a City Hall administration that is getting on with its work, together with government, of getting the resources and directing scarce resources to what matters for Londoners. Cutting council tax, getting more police out on the street, investing in the great transport, housing and regeneration projects that will create 200,000 jobs over the next 4 years. And with our apprenticeship schemes and through Team London and all the other means at our disposal, I will dedicate myself to making sure that Londoners, and above all young Londoners, are ready to take the jobs that this amazing city creates. And I will continue to fight for a good deal for Londoners, a good deal from the government that will help us deliver prosperity for everybody in this city. This has been a long and grueling campaign, and I'm very sorry tonight. Well, I congratulate all the Assembly members on their election, I should say, but I'm sorry to see the loss of valued and distinguished colleagues. Richard Barnes, my statutory Deputy Mayor, who served this city with great distinction, Brian Coleman, and others. I want particularly to thank all the contestants tonight, all the contestants behind me, but especially Ken Livingstone. Ken, last time we stood here, I said some complimentary things about you. Fat lot of good it did me. But I will repeat them in the triumph of hope over experience. Because of all the left-wing politicians that I can think of, I think over your long period in office, you have been amongst the most creative and the most original. And if only you will promise not to stand again. I much look forward to having that non-taxpayer-funded drink that we have so far not managed to fit into our diaries. I want to thank everybody on my campaign team, the extraordinary efforts of the Conservative Party in London. I want to thank Marina and the rest of my family who were so panicked by the evident closeness of the polls that they actually came out to campaign. And above all, I want to thank the people of London. I want to thank the people of this city, those who voted for me yesterday, those who didn't, those who thought about it and then did, those who thought about it and then didn't. I want to thank all of you for giving me a new chance and a new mandate to take us forward. Some of you may know that I have a 9-point plan. And I was canvassing in Harrow, and I met an 11-year-old who completely stumped me by saying, if you had a 10th point for your 9-point plan, what would it be? And I have to say my brain rather froze at that point, but I've got the answer now. The answer is to win on May the 3rd and then to have a small celebration on May the 4th. And that is what I propose to do. Tomorrow we continue with our work, but tonight we will celebrate sensible, cost-effective, Conservative administration in London over the next 4 years with a non-taxpayer-funded libation. Thank you very, very much, everybody, and may the 4th be with you. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if the Prime Minister is still watching, but I hope the closeness of the result didn't give him indigestion over dinner. Because the real story tonight is that under Labour, under Ed Miliband, we have won in every part of the country. I want to congratulate Boris on his personal victory, whilst Cameron and Osborne are dragging the Tory party down to defeat in the rest of Britain. Not only have you won another term, but I suspect this result has settled the question of the next Tory leadership election. I also want to congratulate Jenny Jones in coming third, a huge breakthrough the Green Party. And let me make clear that is not an attack on Brian Paddock. I don't think his fault that the Lib Dems have slipped back. I suspect that nice Mr Clegg. I'd start as well by saying I want to thank every Londoner who came out and voted for me and the Labour Party yesterday after a pretty gruelling campaign. But I also want to apologise to all those people who worked so hard at this election, from Ed Miliband down to our youngest new Labour Party members. I'm truly sorry I couldn't pull this victory off. But I am incredibly proud of our team and the incredible hard work as we rebuilt the Labour Party across parts of London where it had died away, and we rebuilt it over these last 2 years. I also want to thank friends and family who supported me so loyally through what's been an incredible media battering. If we look beyond the personality contest, however, to the results of the London Assembly, we see the striking gains that Labour has made at this election. As the largest party, Labour's Assembly members will lead the fight on issues that matter to Londoners, restoring the police cuts, building good council housing and keeping down the fares. Boris, this election is no mandate for a fare increase. I support and will continue to support Labour Assembly members in those campaigns, but this is my last election. 41 years ago, almost to the day, I won my first election on a manifesto promising to build good council housing and introduce a free bus pass for pensioners. Now I've lived long enough to get one myself. I didn't think I necessarily would at the time. And since then, I've won 11 more elections and lost 3. But the one that I most regret losing is this. This is the defeat I most regret, because these are the worst times for 80 years. And Londoners needed a mayor to help them get through this very difficult period by cutting fares, by cutting energy prices and putting people back to work, building good council homes. I am sincerely sorry to those Londoners who desperately wanted us to win that I failed to do that. And I'll continue to bear, and they will continue to bear, the pain of this recession without any help from here in City Hall. Some papers depicted this election as a conflict between 2 men, when in reality it was about the lives of 8 million Londoners. And I think democracy is undermined when those who own newspapers fill them with trivia rather than real issues. And I wonder if the negativity and the smears that dominated this election played a part in Birmingham and Manchester rejecting the idea of elected mayors for their cities. However, I'd like to thank LBC and BBC London radio and TV stations for what I think was very good coverage of these elections. And I think how different the result might have been if the BBC hadn't cancelled that question time debate and stopped candidates being interviewed on the Today programme. But irrespective of bias in the media, Labour will win the debate on how to build an economy that works for all in a fairer Britain, because we must. Our politics is at a turning point. Today's teenagers are the first generation of English men and women who face a worse prospect than their parents. This is because the aggressive free market agenda set by the Tory party 30 years ago has failed to deliver the sound economy they promised. Osborne pushing us back into a double-dip recession merely confirms this. London is the most amazing city, but our children must be able to find jobs and homes in it, as they must in the rest of Britain. The gains that Labour has made today are a big stride towards achieving that under Ed Miliband at the next general election. Thank you very much.